With the recent release of Commander Collection Black, we're going to look ahead to the next year's Commander Collection Blue. Alright, so welcome to Collectors of the Coast. I am Cash. Last year we did a little look ahead to Commander Collection Black before it was announced. So this is a speculation video for sure. So if you don't like speculation, this isn't the video for you. But we were pretty good on, we got it right. We got that there was going to be a Commander Collection Black. We guessed some of the cards. So we're going to do that again for this year, kind of have some fun with it. Last year we of the 8 cards, I guess, that were in the collection, we guessed 4 of them. 2 of them are no-brainers because it was the Soul Ring and the Soul Ring and the Command Tower, which will, assuming it's Commander Collection Black as the next one, which are guaranteed kind of thing in the product. So we got 6 cards to guess. We did get right the Phyrexian Arena that was in the product last year, or this in the Commander Collection Black. And also, what are the other ones? The Planeswalker, Liliana Heretical Healer. So we got 2 of them right. We were pretty close on a couple of the other ones. We were just right around the ballpark of the cards, but we didn't actually get the cards. So I didn't think they'd put Toxic Deluge in it. So we kind of tried to go like a step under it, and we failed. So anyways, so we're going to do that again this year. So Commander Collection Blue, that is our guess. They could go different directions, but if you're just thinking about through the spell books and the Commander collections they've done so far, they're due another blue product. We were speculating with a couple of people when I was chatting that they could do maybe some kind of multicolored thing or maybe artifacts, but it seems most likely they're going to go blue next, and then probably back to white and then red, and then maybe they'll get something else, maybe artifacts or something like that. So Commander Collection Blue. So the couple cards we know that are going to be in there, we know there's going to be some kind of Soul Ring with some kind of, I don't know, fancy alt art, and we know there's going to be a Command Tower. So that's 2. Hey, we're 2 for 2 already. We're like guaranteed 2 out of 8. We didn't expect the token, so let's see if there's a token this year in the next product. I don't think there will be, personally. There's lots of blue cards that are good, but not too many of them make tokens. So I'm not expecting a token bonus in the product. So it's probably gonna be 8 cards. So the first thing that we looked at, that I kind of looked at was the Planeswalkers. So I was kind of talking with some people about this, and didn't seem to think, because the last one was a Jace spellbook, don't really expect a Jace, but it seems like a fairly obvious choice to have in this kind of product. I thought Jace's Vryn's Prodigy was the most obvious Planeswalker, so I'm still going to put that out there, though maybe it's not going to happen just because it was in the spellbook the last time, so maybe they'll go with one of the other good blue Planeswalkers. So I'm thinking number 1 for favorite is Tezzeret. Tezzeret the which Tezzeret is it? Tezzeret the Seeker. So Tezzeret the Seeker kind of works with artifacts. I think it's going to be a big artifact year, actually, this year. Towards the end of the year, I see an artifact set coming. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a reprint on him. His value is around $20-25, which is kind of around the value they seem to like to put in the product. It'll draw people to buy it. So I'm going Tezzeret the Seeker. The next one that hasn't had a reprint in a long time, and just had a very minor reprint, Tameo the Moon Sage. So that'd be kind of my other one. And then that Jace, if they do in fact go back to a Jace, I'm going for Vryn's Prodigy. I know there's a few good Jaces out there that are blue, so that's kind of where I'm at for Planeswalkers. Next in the thing will probably be some kind of counter spell or instant, assuming they kind of go the same that they have in previous products. So I was looking at a few different cards. So I tend to look when I'm looking at these products, and this was my thought process last year, is that the cards are going to be at least worth $5 on the open market, and probably up to about $15. They're probably not going to go, if you're going to get a counter spell, an instant counter spell, they're probably not going to throw an $80 counter spell in this kind of product. They're probably going to throw something that's got some value that you're going to want it, but it's not sort of in that crazy ballpark. So you're not going to see any of those 0 casting cost counter spells printed in this kind of product. It's just probably ain't going to happen. So I am looking at a few cards that I thought would be really interesting. Remand, which is I think over $10, kind of around that $10 mark. Hasn't been reprinted for a little while. Cryptic Command, I think it's only been reprinted. I think it's only been printed once. Holding about $20. It's got very versatile spell. It would be a really neat card to have in there. Not quite your absolute premium, but a very, very good card. So that probably is my number one pick. But maybe they're holding that for a reprint in one of the master sets. So that's the thing that would maybe hold it back. A couple other cards we were kind of speculating on would be Stifle and Disallow, and wouldn't be surprised. You would think you can't do a sort of a blue spellbook / commander collection without some kind of counterspell. So it seems kind of likely to me that the instant card's going to be a counterspell of some sort. So those are my picks for instants. Maybe leave your comments. This is actually a really good video to see your comments. So if you see your comment, if you have an idea of what you think is going to be in it, put your comments on what you think it is, and I'll actually look back when it does come out next year, and when I do the next video, and I will go through the comments, because I found that really interesting going back last year to the comments on the Commander Collection Black and reading them. So those are kind of our instants. There's probably going to be a sorcery in there as well. Sorcery, blue's kind of great for instants. There's honestly, there was probably 50 instants that could possibly be in it, so very hard to get. But on sorceries, there's not that many. Most of the good sorceries are some kind of turn spell or something like that. So I had 3 that I thought could be there. One was Ponder, which is just a very good sort of cycling draw card spell. Expropriate, which again is holding, it's just because of the value of it that I really thought it would be in there, but it's not. I don't know where to see it. I don't see they're doing a mass reprinting. I think it'll get killed on value. And my number one on this was Time Warp. Hasn't been reprinted in a little while. Has some good value. It's got that extra turn, and people like extra turns. So I'm going to go Time Warp with my number one, and then maybe Ponder, and then maybe Expropriate. And I'm probably missing some, but I must admit I had a harder time finding blue sorceries that have value, other than those like Time Walks and things that have a lot of extra turns and stuff. So that was my instant, or that was my. Okay, so the next one was one I actually had a hard time with. So it's blue, so you expect more instant. So based on the previous products, I think there was just one instant in each of the previous products. So I don't know if they're going to go 2 instants, but it feels like there has to be a bounce card in the product. So I kind of looked at a number of different kind of bounce things. Tried to get my head around it. To me, the most obvious card when I get to bounce cards would be Brazen Borrower, but it's been reprinted a lot recently, or since it's come out. So I know it's still worth about $10. So it wouldn't surprise me if that card's in there. It seems so obvious to me that it would be in there, but again, just with that, how many times it's been reprinted, I don't know if they want to reprint it already again. So I looked at it, some of the other kind of bounce cards. Snap, which has good value to it. Hercule's Recall, another really good card. Another one that I thought, and actually this one I had in another section as well when I was going through it, was Archmage's Charm. Very versatile card. It's got good value to it. I thought maybe this one seemed like a fairly good one. So I'm gonna go Archmage's Charm first. I'm gonna say maybe Brazen Borrower next, because it's pretty good and it would really fill that slot well. Yeah, the other ones, possibilities, but we can never guess what they're. Again, you just don't know what they're going to put in products. One, we have Double Masters coming out this year. We've got the Commander Collection coming out, and they're going to be looking for some of those reprints in those products. So we don't know what they've deemed they're going to put in those products for value. And then, then what are they? How do they value these things? They're going to try to put $100 worth of cards in the Commander Collections, maybe $120 worth of cards. So they've got to build up the value, but how are they going to do it? So. Enchantment was interesting. So there's some very good blue enchantments. Some they pulled a lot of the value out of them with reprints recently, and some not so much. So to me, the most obvious enchantment was Mystic Remora. Has never seen a reprint, could be reprinted. I don't think it's on the reserve list, and it's got good value to it. I think it's about $10 for an old card that at one point was worth like 25 cents. And it just feels like it's the time to reprint that card in some kind of alt art. It's kind of, I think it's kind of leveled off at its top, so they're going to want to get the value out of it before maybe it goes down. It feels a little bit less played than it once was. So I'm kind of feeling like Mystic Remora is going to come out in one of these products over the next year, and I feel like this might be the spot. So I'm going to go Mystic Remora and some kind of in the alt art in the product. Other ones that seem kind of like they have a really good choice. There's the blue ley line. I don't feel like that one's going to be in there. They definitely could put propaganda in. It's going to hold $5-10. It's a good card. It's played so much. But then again, they really do risk, because they've reprinted it recently, really knocking the value out of propaganda, because I don't think it can handle another major reprint right now with holding value. So thinking maybe... and I'm sorry, the other last one was Equilibrium. So if they don't go with a bounce card in the sorcery slot, they might want to put Equilibrium. Hasn't been reprinted forever. Really good enchantment. When it comes into play, you pay 1. When you put a creature in play, pay 1, return another creature to its owner's hand. Really fun card to play. Wouldn't be surprised if we see this card. It does seem to fit the product pretty well. So don't be surprised. Equilibrium in the product. I'm kind of between Equilibrium and Mystic Remora, kind of going back and forth. We'll see what it ends up being, but those would be kind of my top 2 picks. So when I get into the creatures, I actually had a harder time with creatures. First of all, there's just so many creatures in Magic. Every set has tons of them, but there's not that many that are kind of in that price range that you're looking for. There's some that are way up here, things like Snapcaster Mage, where they're super expensive. Wouldn't think they would want to put the Sphinx in this, because it's just got too much value, and I don't think they would want to put that kind of thing in this. So I kind of looked at some of those lesser ones, and I think with blue, you either want to play like a creature. A lot of times people want to play a creature that either like draws them cards, or is like a clone effect. So I kind of looked at some of those clone effect cards, and I thought maybe one of those would be in there. So Sakashima the Imposter hasn't been reprinted, I don't think. And really good card, holding about $10-12 in value right now. Wouldn't be surprised to see that card in there. Nice clone effect, have the ability to bring it back to your hand, do it again. Just could use more of those out in the ecosystem. So Sakashima the Imposter I thought was a real good sort of dark horse. Not too new, but not so old, and could use a reprint. Spark Double. Not a super old card, but very good card, and definitely could use more of them out there. So wouldn't be surprised to see Spark Double. Also, now it's a bit newer, so this is the reason I wouldn't see this card, but Thassa's Oracle. Really good card, gets lots of play, and yeah, it's holding about $10 value, so it's kind of in that value range that you could see them putting in this kind of product. So that is 7 of 8. The last one I was really unsure where to go with it, to be honest with you. I think I covered that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What did I do? 8? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I did 8. So yeah, I was a little bit unsure of whether they would do 2 creatures in this one. The first one, I think they did a second creature. It's kind of hard to know. You would think with blue, if they're going to have 2 of something, it'll be 2 instants, just because there's so many good instants in blue Magic the Gathering. So if you like the video, please subscribe. Throw us a like. We're doing giveaways on the channel. Throw us a like and leave a comment. We'd love to hear back from you on what you think about this kind of video. What do you think would be in the Commander Collection blue? Is it going to be a Commander Collection blue? Maybe they'll finally do a Commander Collection purple, and we'll be really excited. So I hope you liked the video. Everyone have a magical day.